welcome back to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And another episode. This is episode 8, I think. I'm losing count now as we get further into these. The streets around Maine Road, of course, back in 1977, the Manchester City Council named a number of streets in a new estate in Moss Side after famous City players, obviously. Most of them are still there. I believe one or two might have disappeared now, actually, but certainly most of them should still be there. So in episode 8, we're going to look at a close, yes, M14 4JL, and it's Horace Barnes. Yes, Horace Barnes close. So we've looked at legends Fred Tilson, Billy Meredith, Tommy Johnson, Sammy Cookson, Frank Swift, Eric Brook, Jimmy McMullen, and today we go over to Mr. Horace Barnes. What a great name. Well, we've got a few good Barneses, haven't we? But Horace, that's a fantastic name. 3rd of January 1891, old Horace was born, and he died on the 12th of September 1961. He played for Derby County, Preston, Oldham, and of course Manchester City between 1914 to 1924. Although it was interrupted for something, but we'll talk. You probably know what, but we'll talk about that in a bit. A bit like a Roy of the Rovers caricature. He was said to have the hottest shot in football. Was it Hot Shot Hamish or something like that? Was it Roy of the Rovers? I don't know. Or Tiger comic, I don't know, back in the day. But it was likened more modern day, perhaps 70s and 80s, to a guy called Peter Lorimer for Leeds. But apparently it was nothing. Peter Lorimer was nothing compared to Horace Barnes' smacking of the ball, apparently. He won hands down if you had to compare the two. According to the guys who knew, obviously, we're going back a long, long time. There's no doubting that was impressive, given the leaden cases as well they used to play in those days, don't forget, in the 1910s, 1920s. I mean, they were bad enough when I started playing football. Obviously, they were even worse in those days. It was alleged that Horace's hammer, that's what it was nicknamed, Horace's hammer, it was his left foot. He was an inside left. He played number 10, which is the old-fashioned inside left. If you're a bit young and don't know these old positions, yeah, number 10 was always the inside left. Neil Young, for instance, was an inside left. Well, it was alleged that Horace's hammer shot once broke both wrists of an opposing keeper who had the temerity to try and punch the ball away or try and punch a shot away, and it broke both his wrists. How true that was, I'm not too sure. Might be an urban legend. He was born in Sheffield in 1891 and began his football playing for where he was born, Wadsley Bridge, a local team, very close to Hillsborough, home of Sheffield Wednesday, of course. In 1908, he signed on as an amateur for Derby County, still only 17 years old. And in his reserve team debut was so good, he was immediately invited to make a first-team appearance just 2 days later. He signed professional forms and stayed at Derby until 1913-14. And to ease their problems after relegation, he was offered for sale, yeah, and a lot of teams were interested, but the asking price was a little bit high. But on May the 8th, 1914, City purchased him for £2,500, which was a record at the time. We did splash the cash. Other teams like United were unwilling to go that high, and he apparently had jumped at the chance to come to Manchester, so he wouldn't have been bothered if it had been United, in all fairness. I'm not going to say he was a dyed-in-the-wool, wanted to come to City, but he had a Manchester lass as his fiancée, so that's why he wanted to come to Manchester, so all well and good. In his first season, he made 29 total appearances at number 10, which he would play throughout his career at City. Scored 14 goals, helping the team to finish 5th in the First Division. Not bad. 3 points behind champions Everton, 2 points for winning those days, don't forget. And his first goal was in a 4-1 victory in his very first game against Bradford City on the opening day of the season. As all footballers, and the world itself was all interrupted, wasn't it? Barnes' career was interrupted by the First World War, which he spent working mainly in a munitions factory, but he served in the Royal Garrison Artillery, where he played for them at sort of centre-half level, but also made guest appearances back at City. And depending which source you go to, the statistics kept during the First World War years weren't that great. He either scored 56 goals in 57 games playing for City, or he scored 73 in 73 games playing for City. So that sounds better, doesn't it? We'll take that one, but depends who you believe. He was once fined by the magistrates, yes, for not turning up for a shift. Obviously, it was important in those days to do your shifts and turn up, do your bit for the war effort. And because he didn't turn up for a shift at the munitions factory, he'd actually preferred to go and play for City against Stockport County. So we got a bit of a slap wrist and got a fine for that. He was able to resume his footballing career, as all did the guys who thankfully came back. Obviously, many didn't, unfortunately. Resumed his footballing career. Again, as I said, he played still at number 10 in the 1919-1920 football season, in which, mainly throughout his career, he ended up as City's second highest scorer. There was a guy called Bromwell around who used to be the top scorer, and they were very good as a partnership as well. But he finished second highest scorer in that 1919-20 season with 23 goals in 41 matches. Only missed 3 league games, and we finished 7th in the league. Highlights of that season: hat-trick against Notts County on the 27th of September at Hyde Road, a 4-1 win in front of 20,000 fans. And also, it was the year that King George V, I think, made his first ever visit outside of the capital to a football match. And he came to Hyde Road on the 27th of March 1920, and Mr. Barnes, Horace, scored both goals in a 2-1 win over Liverpool in front of 40,000 at Hyde Road. In the 2021 season, he was City's second top scorer, 18 goals in 42 total appearances. He missed just 1 league game that season, so he played 41 league games and 1 FA Cup game. City came second in the league, just missed out. 5 points, so wasn't that close. 5 points behind champions Burnley, but a runners-up medal. That was his only real reward while he was at City. And the highlight, of course, was this Burnley match, the game at Hyde Road. It brought to an end a victory for City, a 3-0 victory where Barnes scored twice, brought to an end a 30-game unbeaten run by Burnley, which more or less won the title from that season. It was City who ended that run at Hyde Road in front of 47,500. I mean, you're talking capacities there at Hyde Road. Following season 21-22, Billy Meredith returned to City. Although he didn't score any goals, he played on the wing, supplied the goals, and he played in a forward line alongside, of course, Barnes, Tommy Broll, which we've mentioned, and Tommy Johnson, another well-known goal scorer. Barnes scored 20 goals from 40 appearances, missed just 5 games, 1 goal less than City's top scorer again, so not far off again, Tommy Broll, but the team finished 10th in the league that season. His highlights, a couple of hat-tricks, hat-trick against United, always nice to see, on the 22nd of October, a 4-1 win at Hyde Road. He liked playing at Hyde Road and scoring goals, didn't he? None of these came at the away grounds. He got another hat-trick against West Bromwich Albion at Hyde Road on November the 19th in a 6-1 win in front of a crowd of 25,000. I think the Derby game, it was only 20,000 there. They weren't always the best supported, the United City games. Who watched United? In the 22-23 football season, the last at Hyde Road, the City team was further enhanced by the acquisition of another striker, Frank Roberts from Bolton. But he was the top scorer this season. Mr. Browell was suffering. He missed a few games that year, and he scored 21 goals from 39 appearances, Horace Barnes, and the team finished, again, 8th, nothing special, but okay. And the highlight had to be December the 23rd, when he scored 3 goals, again, a hat-trick in a 5-1 victory against Cardiff in front of 18,000 at Hyde Road. And then we moved, didn't we? We moved to Maine Road for the 1923-24 season. So he's one of these players that played at both grounds, scored at both grounds, because we moved to Maine Road, and Horace Barnes scored the first goal at the new stadium in a 2-1 victory over Sheffield United on the opening day of the season in front of 58,159 fans. And the team ultimately finished mid-table, 11th out of 22 in the league, 42 points. But Barnes, again, was the top scorer with 22 goals from 37 games. And he played in 7 of City's 8 games in the FA Cup that season. We missed out, though, at the semi-final stage. We went down defeated by Newcastle 2-0 in the semi-final. The 1924-25 season, the second one at Maine Road, was to be Barnes' last with Manchester City. He played 14 times that season, a bit intermittent, but still scored 8 goals. The team finished 10th. Barnes' last goal for City was in a 1-1 draw with Huddersfield Town, and his last appearance, a 1-1 draw away on the 10th of November against Spurs. He'd appeared for City, his stats for City, he'd appeared 235 times in all competitions, excluding the World War I break, which, as I said, is we're not too sure about that one, and scored 125 goals. So not a bad return, certainly one in the top 10 of City scorers. And as we did say, he had a great understanding with fellow forward Tommy Browell. And interestingly enough, when this sort of partnership ended, and when injuries hit and stuff like this, and obviously once Horace Barnes had left the club, so did City's fortunes fade. As I say, from being comfortable in the first division, the very first season after we were actually relegated. So not great, but these two had a great understanding, Browell and Barnes. Barnes joined Preston North End in November 1924. So he did play a few games that season, but he ended up joining Preston. Barnes lived in Manchester for the rest of his life, worked as a packer at Mather and Platt in Newton Heath, and he died at his home in Creighton on the 12th of September 1961, aged 71, so rest in peace. He was listed as and when it was published, as the 13th greatest ever City player in Ian Penny's book, The Essential History of Manchester City. I've got it here somewhere. And 20th on the Times website. So again, not as up to date as it could be, but still shows to what esteem this guy, Horace Barnes, was held. So there you go, Horace Barnes. Great striker. So yeah, Horace's hammer. Thanks for joining me for this little look at him. A shot labelled Horace's hammer that allegedly broke an opposing keeper's wrist, who had the damn cheek to try and stop it. Serves him damn right, doesn't it? Join me next time. We'll look at another. There are some left, not many now as we're getting through these. Please check back some of my others if you get a chance. And I'll put a couple of links up on screen. Join me next time to look at another City legend from around the streets of Maine Road. So we meet again. Stay safe, everyone. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.